Welcome to Swimming with Sepsey, where we break down various life topics, bring on inspirational guests to talk about their lives, their experiences, and encourage you to swim through your own inner thoughts, emotions, and feelings to inspire a change within you that will hopefully lead to an outer change in your own personal reality. I ask that throughout this episode and all future episodes that you come with an open mind, an open heart, and a willingness to look at yourself in a different way and to look at the world in a different way. I'm grateful for each and every one of you that's tuned in this current moment, and I look forward to sharing many more moments with you. And with that, let's dive on in. Hey!
Dang, hey, I actually focused on your hands a lot in that one. Like, I was like, I gotta get this on. I didn't just...
You didn't want to just do a 3, 2, 1?
Whatever.
3, 2, 1. We gotta actually remember because we're doing multiple claps,
Yeah,
so we'll
true.
remember.
We can pick the best one we want.
I'd rather just do the first one so that they get
True.
everything.
Okay.
Oh, welcome.
We'll do that.
Hey-o. Welcome to Swimming with Sepsey. With your host, me, Joshua Sepsey.
Sepsey.
And, hey, ho-wee. And,
I like your last name a lot.
It's fun.
It is fun to say.
Every time I'm like on like a call, everyone's like, "What did you say?
Is it Sepsey?
Sexy? Did you say sexy? No, I said Sepsey."
On a call?
Yeah.
That must be awkward.
It's so funny. It's
Hey, I'm
Joshua
sexy.
Sepsey, and they go, what did you say? I'm like, I'm like, S-E-P or S-E-Y. And they're like, oh, I thought you said sexy.
That's hilarious.
I know. Nope.
You're like, I could report you for saying that.
We did get, my dad like ran with the I'm Sepsey and I know it. That song.
Oh, yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. You freaking love that. When that came out, someone told me that in school, in high school. But also, can't forget our co-host, Nicki.
I wanted you to forget.
Tamacheski.
All right. Settle down.
You wanted me to forget why you don't want me to say your name like that?
No.
No.
I like you. I like it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The spotlight.
I enjoy it too. Please, no autographs, no flash photography. I'll go ahead and get this going here.
You gonna play a little tune for us on the flute?
I don't know how well that would sound. This was a beautiful gift.
Damn, that was really good.
Nice. Busted it out. I haven't played that in a minute. Anyways, today's topic is, I'm going to say it. It's one of my favorites, just like every other one. This one is all about humanity. We're going to be actually speaking on humanity as a whole. And I honestly want to hear everyone's comments about this.
I was literally just thinking that. I was like, we could do another one with a live, because that would be cool to see where everybody's head's at.
Yeah, I want to hear questions. Yeah. I want to hear comments. I want to open up the conversation. We just need one more person to be able to run the live, but we'll find them. But I want to bring this into space now because I feel like a lot of our episodes have led up to this point. Just and when I talk on a whole collective, I feel like we went really micro with some topics, and I think it's time to go into like this macro level and bring the Akash on in. And I think we're moving into a lot of different changes. Everyone's kind of in this space of, is the world ending? Like we're always, we're always thinking that. I feel like there's so many people that are like just prepared for the end of the world. Anyways, we're going to go into that here. I have some announcements here.
Okay.
Still running the discount. So if you do subscribe to the YouTube channel, $20 off Akashic Record or Past Life Reading, or even a Tree of Life reading that I designed to follow your life's path. Just send me a screenshot of the subscription from YouTube. You can find it on Instagram. You can literally just click subscribe through the link tree. You can go on YouTube, Swimming with Sepsey, find us, subscribe, book a reading. Time and space is being limited, so get on it while it's hot. T-shirts are in the making, actually. They're being developed, which was cool because I didn't have a time frame. But
that's dope.
Now I should have.
Can't wait to see them.
Have some stuff to give for people that kind of help out, or support, and appreciate it. Talk about it. I do appreciate everybody that does. Anyone that tunes in, I love you. Appreciate you. We're super grateful. Even for the 60 subscribers is super cool.
That's insane. That's dope.
Super fun. Yeah, I will honestly be honest, for doing minimal promotion. Like just word of mouth and then kind of just posting it and getting traction. So it's been cool.
That's dope. Even like that, just the fact that they're subscribers too. Like that means that they're like
they
gonna
be notifications. They see
watching
it all the time.
Yeah, that's
it's in your
dope.
YouTube home feed. That's cool. It's cool. It's special. So I appreciate you. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell some random people that if you feel inspired, that maybe they need to hear something that maybe helped you. That's really what this is about. It's really to swim with things that, we don't really do very often. To allow you to sit with, like the emotions and feelings was still probably one of my favorites. And to allow you to kind of just take a seat and find new perspectives on your own life that may spark a change in your daily life, that may help you, overcome something that you have been dealing with for quite some time. Maybe it's even a past life thing. Like that's things I talked about last night. So I do appreciate everybody. And we're going to go. Was there any other announcements that I had? Do you have anything? You want to just say hey?
No, just kidding. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I feel really good about this topic, and I think it's important to understand how we feel about where we're at in like current times right now, and like because like that'll help us find a new direction and focus and intention on where we want to go. Because even if we feel lost right now, I feel like that's probably, I don't know how we all feel, but like I guess just to open up the space of the conversation, like personally, like I feel like a lot of people around me, and like just including myself, like there's so many changes, and like so like I feel like we have this awareness that like a lot of things aren't working, and the way that things have been done, and like just the fact that we are realizing how little of a voice and how little like we just feel like we don't have like autonomy or power to like make decisions for ourselves, and like how we want to react to things. And like I just feel like as a whole, like I mean, I was gonna ask you when you first threw out the topic, like do you think it's like do you feel like the general masses are feeling more hopeless, or do you think like we're feeling like revved up to do something? Like I feel like there's like kind of both going on, but
Yeah, it definitely feels both, but it also feels like there's more hopelessness and like unpreparedness, which I think was the purpose of a lot of things that have happened, was to get the masses to a point of being unprepared and relying so heavily on these administrations and things that they forget how to care for themselves to our basic needs of growing our own food, taking care of ourselves, finding our own water. You know, we rely so heavily on systems that if systems were to crumble, then there's not much, it becomes a heavy strain on people that don't know what to do, right? They start relying on things, which then creates chaos, which then creates distrust in the people around you, because then you go back into this space of survival mode, right? And so it becomes hard to hold hope and faith. And because you can start seeing all the stuff you're being fed through television, through the news channels, through things that are filtered already, right? It's not real, it's not raw, it's tailored to get you to be thinking in a certain way, to get you to see the perspective and perception that they want you to have. And say they as, the small few that run all those things. You can look it up. There's only a few people, like people talk about BlackRock. What's the other two? There's two more. But they just own like everything. They have like majority shares. And this is like, United States. I believe it, I'm sure it expands to like other global companies. But when you talk about humanity as a whole, it's very tricky because there are parts of the world that live in such simple spaces than we do here in the States. And when I say simple spaces, like they still hunt and gather, they grow their own food, they're small communities, like there's like natives that still live in rainforests that have beautiful long lives. They don't pay to live on a planet. They don't try to have a job to make the money to pay to live on a planet, right? They just don't abide by any of those things, and yet they're still living and still, going about their lives. We call that primitive. Is that primitive or is that smart? Right? We think we've grown so smart. I'm veering off from your question a little bit, but just to see that it's possible and that we can do that still. I think the major change to bring about faith and hope would be to let you experience what it's like to gather those things for yourself. Grow a little something outside. If you're in an apartment, try to grow something. See what that looks like. See what that feels like. Grow something easy. I don't know. Grow some chives, some herbs. Those are simple. Maybe try and grow a vegetable or two, or grow some tomatoes, or, see what that does to you. It changes you as you go through. I'm watching my mom. I mean, she used to be big into canning when we were younger and like canning our food and like doing that. And then now she's growing this huge garden.
Damn.
And like her mindset and perception has changed on life. I've witnessed it when she first got into it. I mean, she's always been into gardening, right? She's always been one to like have flowers around the house, plants and things like that. But growing food, I think this was her first big venture on growing food. I think we used to when I was really young, but it wasn't to the scale that she has it at now. And that's a skill, You know, that's like everyone should be able to do that. It's a connection thing. And I think when you start doing that, it changes the way that you think about, I think it, at least for me, when I started thinking about it, it changed the way that I think about humanity as a whole. Because we went so far to try and have the perception, and like in America in particular, they put on this American dream, you know, live this life, and they exploded that vision of what it looks like and pushed all of these products and things, and we're so focused on this thing we call like an economy to build and to flourish, and it's all just numbers and bullshit that's just generated on a computer. It's just random bullshit data that means absolutely nothing. And we fed into it and exploded it. And when you have that many people, when it gets expanded across to a whole globe, and you have that many people focused on one thing, focused on, you know, oh, this is the way it is, this is the way the world is, and you just get fed that this is the only way you have. There's a couple parties you get to choose from as far as politics go. You know, they make it seem like there's choice, and there's really not. It's the illusion of choice. And we feed into it, and we build into it. And when you have that many people focused on that, that then becomes the global reality, which is where we find ourselves in today. And the shifting started to happen. I loved seeing it move and shift. And I want to bring up 2012 because everyone was scared that 2012 was going to destroy the planet.
I remember like when 2012 happened, I was like 13.
Yeah.
And I was literally waiting. I was sitting in terror just waiting for
December
it to just
20 something.
Yeah,
2012.
dude. I just remember because I heard about it. I didn't know, like, really. I was 13. I was just like buying into what people, you know, just. But I was like, I didn't really believe it, but I was like, it was in the back of my head where I was like, could it be true? And I remember just waiting in anxiety that day. And then as soon as the day passed, I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God we still got time.
Well, think about Y2K, the 2000s.
Yeah.
Everyone felt the same thing there. Like, oh my God, all technology is going to crumble. Humanity is going to crash. No. It's consciousness shifts.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's consciousness shifts. So 2012 was a consciousness shift into, okay, we're going to start unveiling all of the falseness that you guys have been living your lives by. Great, you built it up. You guys grew in number. You've learned so much, and there's so much good that came out of it, and humanity has just blown up in proportion. This almost ties into the same topic like we talked about, like, what does anyone know what the fuck's going on? It's a little different, though, because that was more of just, like, curiosity. This is more about seeing, like, the timeline of things and the way that we've created the reality that we're living in right now, right? So you get back to the, you know, early 20s, 1920s, booming. It's roaring. They really call it the roaring 20s. There was so much life there at that point, you know, so much happening. And then you start moving into like electricity and all that other things that were, I can't remember when was that night? It was around that time, I believe. We're gonna Google this.
Yeah, Google it because I'm the worst with history.
That's
and,
the
like,
reason
knowing
why.
the timeline.
So this is actually the first time that we're ever gonna actually bring on the good old computer and Google here, and I set it up purposely for this just so we can kind of look some things up if we needed to. But I believe it was right around that time, and you had Tesla, and you had Edison. That's a good question. Well then.
600 BC.
600 BC.
Oh, dude, you know what's
Word?
crazy?
That's fucking wild.
You know what I just saw recently? You can make there's electrical what's it called? Signals in trees. Like you can get electricity from trees.
We're gonna get into this. Okay, so, damn, 600 BC.
That's insane.
Let's read this. It says, Thales, a Greek, found that when amber was rubbed with silk, it became electrically charged and attracted objects. He had originally discovered static electricity. Okay, so he discovered static electricity. In 1876, Charles Brush invented the open coil dynamo or generator that could produce a steady current of electricity. Okay, so when did we first use it? The 19th century. I just want to see this. 1881, 1800s. Okay, so it was a little before that. Store electricity in the homes through road buttons, bringing down costs. It wasn't until still operating without electricity as late as 1930s. So, okay, so running homes and things in urban development was glaring in some farms. America's still operating. So most of us really didn't see huge change till 1930, 1940. Which I would say that was a big, I mean, consciously, you now had electricity in your home. You can now use things to help ease up your day, like dishwashers, laundry machines. I mean, I don't think those were made then, but refrigerators in your home, freezers, lights. You could have lights on during the night. You can be up, you know, instead of having candlelight about, right? So there's a little, we brought light inside. You know, it was a little more, we could actually do more. Became more lavish, and those who had electricity were considered, whoa, you're living the high life. You can pay for that. But what I want to bring awareness to was, if you think about that, we're going to have fun with this. Electricity, and what I've heard is when there's a way to bring free energy to the world, then there's a way to bring actual freedom to the people. Now, that way has already been found many times over, but because of what it brings as far as freedom, it does not get implemented. Going back to the powers that be, the ones that keep control when you feel hopeless, right? Going back to that earlier conversation, which started this kind of swimming with it, this kind of in-depthness.
And I wonder how, like, what that looks like in like certain patterns of, like, okay, we discover this is gonna really, like you said, like, help us as a whole, as people, as community, and then like legislation comes in and like starts to be like, well, like,
it's not even legislation, it's the people that pay the people that pay those people to keep in business, to keep in office. They all get backed by donors. And so the donors are what's helping with the campaign. If you have a good campaign, you can market. If you have marketing, you can reach more people. You can travel. You can put yourself out there. You can hire more people that can help you develop create more speeches that are going to be profound and speak to the people, to get people on your side, to be persuasive, right? If you have the money, you can do that. And so people become bought out. People become, well, yeah, I'll fucking take the $3 million you're going to give me to help with my campaign. Hell yeah. Put it in the business, and then they pay themselves based on, you know, whatever, XYZ, taxes and bullshit. But so that's basically how it goes. Yeah. And I could be, you know, if I'm wrong, please educate me. But to my knowledge, people get paid. People pay other, you know, as far as like politics go.
Yeah. But how do people get like deceived in like our values and stuff? Because like, how do they, like you said, like
because
persuade?
They have money.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what
you're
saying?
A little more, I mean, like, you're more integral of a person. Like, if I were to offer you $5 million to, like, okay, well, you're going to have to screw over all these people. Would you do it? Right. Some people will be like, $5 million? Wow, that can set me up.
Yeah.
I could do a lot with that. Yeah, screw them. right? They become selfish. 5 million, decent amount of money,
Yeah.
right? So it goes back to when we were talking about, does anyone know what's going on? When you're talking about people doing horrid acts, genocide, slavery, raping and pillaging just random villages, right? What was going through their mindset at the time to be able to do that? What did they get taught to believe to overcome that innate moral values that a human possesses?
Yeah.
Ooh, this is wrong. But they told me that these guys are going to come and kill me if I don't do this. And I don't want to die. I got a family.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Well, I guess, this feels weird hauling hundreds and hundreds of humans in shackles across the seas. But, our farm's kind of dependent on it. Like, we're growing. Like, fuck them. They were primitive. This is going to be better for them. They start believing the stories that are told to overcome and justify the things that they're doing, which has brought us here. And it tears down slowly tears away at the empathy and the moral values and the connection, and breaking someone down to lesser than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Then it allows you to be like, oh, well, then I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. If I told you, oh, we're going to screw over 5 million, they're struggling, we'll give you $5 million. I need you to sign this bill. It may screw over this small little country, but they're really struggling anyways. We might even do them a favor. They might just become refugees at a different place. Maybe they'll find jobs, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Uprooting some people from their entire home, their entire village or whatever. Like, this is all hypothetical, but this probably has happened. And, like, you don't bat an eye, mostly because you also don't see it. Mm-hmm. You're just signing some paperwork. And then the bill gets enacted, and then other people go out and do it.
Yeah.
You don't physically see it on a person level, right?
Yeah. So it's like these people are getting bought out or whatever, and then I feel like the way that they manipulate the masses is that they make you think that it's the right choice, or like they spin it in a way to where they think it's like
when you have
not wrong. They
have
like twist your values and your perception of what. What's right and wrong. Wrong.
That's only been like that stuff's propaganda. I mean, has been going on for a really long time, to persuade people into believing for a cause. And I feel like only recently has it been, how can we use techniques, because consciousness is rising, because people are getting smarter, because inventions, because we have a natural tendency as humans to grow and evolve. Mm-hmm. We get smarter all the time. We find new ways to do things. We find innovations. We find just beautiful ways to overcome obstacles and problems in our day-to-day lives, whether it be natural disasters, technological advances, ways to connect and communicate, ways to grow food. We do that. That's just because we adapt and we change. And so it's hard for them now. They had to come up with more creative ways to dumb us down, to keep us from getting to the point where if we were to really all come together, what is the real potential that all of humanity could do together? Mm-hmm. Right? They don't want you to see that. So they want you to stay in this individualistic aspect because it gives them a sense of control. And there's other powers that feed off of the energy of the lower vibrations that we are providing in the world. Mm-hmm. Right? Ooh, we're getting deep. So on a physical level, they're doing like frequency sweeps, which like all of this stuff we have in here right now, all of this EMF radiation is slowly hurting us. Right?
Yeah.
Slowly. We have to use it because it's the only way to get it out right now. But there's things that we can use to protect ourselves from it. We've created that. It's like, okay, we know this is bad. Phone radiation can develop things, I don't like keeping my phone in my pocket anymore. So whenever I'm anywhere, I either try to tuck it in my shoe or toss it off my car. I don't like keeping my phone in my pocket because I just feel like I'm absorbing so much radiation.
Yeah.
Same with like your internet, your Wi-Fi, that has a radiation, electromagnetic signal that pulses throughout the home, which is definitely not good for you. So keeping like orgonite pyramids or shungite, or there's like different EMF blockers that you can find that will help you, and you can get an EMF reader to kind of check it out. It's funny. I remember first hearing about EMF reader was when they were trying to find like ghosts.
Oh yeah,
like
that's
spikes.
crazy, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
EMF spike. Oh yeah, there's a lot of electromagnetic energy here. Now I want to bring this up, and I want to bring this up early. Yeah, I guess we're 29 minutes in. If you haven't yet, please, if you are one that's curious on these kind of topics, and you're one that, you know what, anybody, fuck it, everybody, I want you to go and listen to Terrance Howard and Joe Rogan's episode on his podcast, on Joe Rogan's podcast. Terrance goes into these deep, basically uncovering the secrets of and the truths of life. I'll describe that in a second. I'll probably get a lot of backlash for people that may think it's absolute crazy, but I don't give a shit because I know what I know. The flower of life holds, as a geometric symbol, holds just all of the data of our humanness, the way that we expand, the way that our cells divide, the way that our cells move and connect, the way that all atoms and electrons, protons, and neutrons interact. It describes the mathematical values of all of it. It also is found in nature. It sticks to a golden ratio, which is also found in everything and found in nature. It also sparks to the Fibonacci sequence, which also is found in just about everything. And so he decoded it correctly, which we have been looking at it in a two-dimensional space for so long. And when you three-dimensionally open it up, he goes into this in way better detail than I'm about to even try to describe to you. When you three-dimensionally open it up, he spoke on the negative space that provides in between the four circles, in between all the circles that come together. There's a negative space, and that is the like ether, the unknown. And so by him doing that, he was able to discover everything moves in waves, which we know to be true. Everything has a frequency. Everything has a current, an inhale and an exhale. We have an inhale and exhale. Animals have an inhale and exhale. Trees, plants, grass, anything living has some sort of inhale and exhale. Anything with atoms, anything with like all of this stuff here, the ground, this stuff, this material was all made from, these are all crystals. So of course they're going to have it. The salt lamp, anything that we've created comes from some sort of mineral that was found, or mineral that was made or created to be this cotton, polyester. If you break it down to its basic point, you find the same connection patterns of the atoms, the same way. It all works the same way, but they're denser, so they're more connected, more together. They're more solid than, say, my hand's not as solid as this metal microphone, which, by the way, beautiful gift. Thank you, Emily, for letting us use this here. Shouts out. So it becomes just now, he was saying how by knowing that, it allows us to change. It would change the entire perspective on humanity. It would change the way we run things. It would change the way that we create. It would change our technology. It would change the way, the pollution. It would change the way that we are able to actually move out in space and move further out in space. Humans will probably never be out in space due to radiation. But he also, excuse me, sorry. But he also broke down, they must not want me to go into that topic. We also broke down humans. And he may not have gone into this too much, but I'm going to go into it. So humans, well, he did kind of go into it, actually. Now I'm remembering some of the episode. But humans are, what? Electricity. We have a current. We have a vibration about us. We have a frequency that moves through us. We're mostly water, so it's conductive. It's able to move through our entire body. I'm able to speak and vibrate my vocal cords into this microphone to then create a signal that goes there that then gets recorded that you can then hear through your headphones, right? I'm able to put my feet on the ground and ground my whole body and detox and allow myself to then overcome, crippling things like diabetes and things like that really affect your body and a frequency, right? So what this manipulation turns to then is how can we adjust people's energy and frequency and the electricity in their body so that way we can kind of keep them ill, sick, not as energized, not as conscious, not as focused. Well, we can start attacking the food supply. Well, we can also put things in water. We can weigh them down with heavier metals that are heavier than our regular anatomy, our base anatomy. And you can start them when you're young. Let's give you 12 shots right off the rip. For those that believe in vaccines, believe what you want. Again, at the very beginning of this, please, I ask you to come with an open mind. I can already feel it. I ask that you come with an open mind, and if this may be against what your belief is, please comment below. I'm open to this whole discussion. These are just things that I've read and come to understand, and it makes sense to me and what I've felt in my own personal experience. Because it has, I've noticed when I tend to eat cleanly. Just fasted yesterday. Really, the only thing I ate today was ate in the last 24 hours was that bagel, right? Mm-hmm. And there's probably some things in there that may not be as best, but I kind of took out so much and didn't weigh my system so much down with all the foods, non-organic foods or genetically modified foods that we find throughout our market, or foods that are sprayed with chemicals that are not washed and then just kind of thrown in. So the vibration shifts, so you feel this sort of more sharp, more focused, more like aware of yourself. You're not just wanting to lay around and be lazy. You're not wanting to just, I don't want to go outside. I just want to watch the TV. Oh, I'm too tired after work. I don't want to do anything. I just feel weighed down, feel heavy. Like after you eat a giant meal, like you go to Taco Bell, McDonald's, you feel sated, but then you also feel bloated, heavy, and just don't want to do anything. I've never seen anyone that's like, I'm going to slam all this food, either fast food or like heavy red meats or anything like that, and then go run a fucking marathon. You don't do that. They tell you to eat light. You carbohydrate the night before, so that way it builds up the energy, blah, 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 but you eat light before you actually go. Otherwise, you're going to feel heavy and weighed down. That's the same thing. So by doing that, and I'm going to connect this to the conscious collective here in a moment. I know I'm going off on a tangent. Are there any questions that you have?
No, dude, I'm there with you. I'm listening.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool. Just had to check in real quick. Everybody with me? Take a drink of water. We were getting here, and I knew this was going to happen. So the way that you go about just living your life, you have to think about your regular frequency. And so if you can be in this space of electrically light, then you can, oh my can be that. You can just be timeless and cute and adorable. And I don't know why you sleep like that, but whatever.
How is she actually doing that? Her legs are forward, her back and her arms and her head is facing the complete opposite direction.
Yeah, dude. They don't have a spine, I guess. I don't know.
That's insane.
Cats are wild. I love them. But so when you can feel that like lightness, that you can have the toxins cleaned out and electrically recharging the system, like they found ways to go in and precisely use frequency to destroy cancer cells. But why isn't that technology being developed? Well, because your doctors that treat the cancer and the ones that actually provide you provide your food that causes the cancer, they're run by the same people. So well, think about that as much as you would like. So when you're able to do that, then you can vibrate a little higher. And why they say to go out in nature and connect is because you don't have the radiation that cities and regular your home has. So the radiation is your exhale, your decrease, right? Your negative charge. Your regular body is mostly positive, like it has that positive electric charge. And you can raise that. They call that ascending. And so if they have the right amount of radiation compared to your positive energy that's normally going about, like your soul's energy, that soul that where you feel like this, I'm inspired, like how I'm feeling literally right now. This, how I was earlier. I was exhausted. I was tired. I was just laying around. I was like, dude, my body's exhausted. But as soon as I started bringing this up and getting into something that was passionate, this happens with everybody. As soon as you start speaking about something and allowing the energy to flow, you start to vibrate higher. You start to rise up. You start to just gain this sense of control and understanding of self and like feeling like, whoa, I'm heard. You're speaking directly to the cells of my body. Like that's exciting me. And Terrance described it as when you hear that music or that song comes on, your DNA actually tightens and reforms and corrects itself and gets like, ooh, like lively, like let's move, right?
Everything in your body gets realigned.
Everything. That's why you get the chills. That's why those things happen when you're speaking directly, because you're speaking to this living cells in your body. I hope you feel that. And so when they have that sort of ability to deplete that in self, they have a sense of control. So as much radiation, and maybe they knew, maybe they didn't know. I'm leaning into more that they knew as far as the technologies that were being created. Like, yeah, we kind of know this is going to hurt you.
It's probably a mix of both.
Probably a mix of both. They may not need the long-term effects, but they're like, oh, it's going to do X, Y, and Z.
Just ignorance. Still, not ignorance, but negligence, maybe, I think.
Well, I think ignorance might be the right word.
You think so?
Because I think it's like, well, whatever you're like ignoring.
Yeah, ignoring that it's there.
You're aware,
you're still going
but you're just ignoring that whatever.
Yeah.
This is still benefiting us, but we'll fuck the side effects, right? What it actually does to the human soul. Now, and that's an even deeper topic. We'll get into that one a different time, because I think that one is a little more conspiracy theorist than it is talking about humanity's potential as a whole. So we're going to actually dive into the collective conscious, all right? How this works with the collective conscious. When you have that space of sense. And now going back to when I said, oh, we have, some people don't live like, modern society lives, like how we mostly live in like in big major countries. There's some people that still, grow their own food, walk to get their own water, all those things, right? They don't have a lot of the technology. I know we're trying to help them with certain technologies of building homes and being able to do those sort of things. But modern society, when you have that many people, which is probably a couple billion, if more than that, almost most of the world, when they're all susceptible to these things, we're easier to control. The collective conscious takes a slower space to grow. The ideas, the innovations, the ways things come out, you're not only dealing with this whole collective conscious of well, my energy's not right, something feels off. So then you abide and you just lean into, well, this is the way things are. So I'm just going to keep this job and I'm not going to try and achieve anything, or I'm not going to try and create anything. I'm not creative. I can't do this. Or, you start telling yourself these things because you look at the way society's run. And so you just start to feed into it. And so you basically are, as you're growing, you're bouncing back to, and this is a really cool image that they just showed to me, you're bouncing back from shape-shifting from a lion to a sheep. I'm going to use that because everyone has heard that term. You're either a lion or you're a sheep. You either think for yourself, you take charge, you take control, or you fucking blend in and you become a sheep and just do everything that they're doing. Ooh, I'm swearing a lot on this one. I apologize. But they're showing that because that's how your mind and mentality works. So there's days when you feel like you have this full control, and then there's days where you feel like you're just a sheep and you're just going about the, mental constant days in and days out. Now, moving into how you can start to free yourself, there's different ways that you can do that. One, focusing on your own personal beliefs, what you believe to be true. Go and become your own science experiment. Do these things work for you? Do these things line up with who you desire to be? If not, okay, then where did you learn them? Can I let go of them? Are they still supporting me? Are they still, are these thoughts and beliefs still aiding me? Why do I react this way? How can I engineer this out of myself so that way I can take control of the life that I desire to live? Okay, that's going to take some work. I can help you with that. But when you have that on a macro scale, then the collective conscious and the growth of the collective conscious takes more time to grow. They talk about change being slow. No, they made change slow. You know why they made change slow? They made change slow because they were afraid of the potential and the unknown that humanity can actually achieve as a whole. So the people in charge were like, ooh, well, we don't want that. We want to kind of be able to control the space and the way that this grows. We want to make the decisions and feel like you're not ready for that. So I'm going to live this beautiful, lavish life and take advantage of this economy and be able to travel and see the whole world, while a majority of you are probably only going to be able to visit a few spaces in your life, and that's it. And you're going to have to take major time out of your working class day to be able to explore and expand and dive into different cultures and see the world. Why? Because if you do that, it expands your consciousness. When you learn from other people and you see other ways, it expands your perspective and your perception on your current reality and the life that others are living.
You know what's crazy, bro, is that you're saying like they want us to think that change is slow or it takes a long time or whatever, like, and like a belief, like it takes a long time to change your beliefs. But you know what's crazy is when you're like hearing someone motivationally speaking, or like even if you would just like what you're talking about, what happens in your DNA when you're getting passionate and everything's lighting up, like it's literally like it takes that long to feel that. And, like, your whole body feels that and knows that. That's why your soul is already, like, aligning with it. It's already changed to that frequency. But then what comes in is your thoughts afterwards, just saying, like, pushing down, saying, okay, well, I have to get there, or I have to believe this to be true to actually do it. And that's where all the conditioning and everything that's been set up for us and, like, told to us over time is, like, I think what, like you said, weighs us down and keeps us, like, in this space of just not moving or changing or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was just like crazy because I was just like, even right now, I'm sure even like when people are hearing you say this, like they're gonna be like have that light switch in their cells in their body to know that, like they're gonna feel inspired, they're gonna feel motivated, they're gonna say like, yes, I feel that exact same way, like
I hope so.
I know this to be true. But like it's just crazy, like I don't know. It's just crazy how strong that belief or the disbelief in self is. Like,
yeah.
Because that's all it is that's weighing you down.
It is.
But, yeah, I was just trying to, like, speak on, like, how fast it is just to be like, yeah, I know that to be true.
Yeah. And then, you're right. And that's where it's so, I believe in overnight miracles. Like, I believe you hear something, you're like, whew, boom, changed, done. Yep.
Yeah.
I can do that. But you also have the way that your beliefs are set. So like I said, I personally believe that. Some people may be like, well, I need some time to research and look into it and see this for myself. And great, I would love you to do that. I want you to do that. Find out what works for you. Don't rely on anything that I say. Take it with a grain of salt. Although I know a lot and I channel a lot and I understand a lot and can communicate a lot, I still want you to explore it for yourselves, because the only way that you're going to actually align it with your own body. Like, this feels right to do this. Great, do it. Is that gardening? Is that, going out and connecting with people? Is that writing? Is that art, painting? I love this right here. Actually, when we went to Goodwill and picked this up, it says crisis and opportunity. I'm going to read this actually because I thought this was perfect for what we were speaking on today. Because we're kind of in a crisis. We're in a mental health crisis. We're in a societal crisis. We don't want to speak about it. We're in an economical crisis. We're in major crisis. But I like this because it literally says crisis and opportunity. And I honestly might get that tattooed. It's really cool. It says opportunity is always present in the midst of crisis. Every crisis carries two elements, danger and opportunity. No matter the difficulty of the circumstances, no matter how dangerous the situation, at the heart of each crisis lies a tremendous opportunity. Great blessings lie ahead for those who know the secret of finding the opportunity within each crisis. So it's how can we make the change now? Okay, we've reached a point where there's water overflowing in the glass. They no longer can hold it. They no longer can control it. Its onset was 2012. The planets are living. Earth is alive, and understood that, okay, we need to make a change. I either need to get rid of all of you and evolve, or y'all need to work with me so that way you don't destroy me, which has already happened once. So, this point now, question?
Sorry, I thought of something right when you were about to change it real quick. I was going to say, but the how we change is actually why. Like, why that lies in the why we need to change. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the way that we're all gonna get on board is because why we need to change is because, like, no one's happy right now. None of us is happy with the way that we've.
I think there's some that are happy, but I don't think they're like truly happy.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I'm like we talked about, I was like, I'm completely happy in the life that I live, even though I may not live like this lavish lifestyle that everyone's like, oh, that's what I'm, financial freedom, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't have any of that, but I'm happy. I love the life that I have. I love the people that are around me. I love what I do, even though it might, be a lot. It might feel overwhelming. I still love doing all of it. I give myself breaks because I'm a human. And that's one thing that we have to go back down to is our humanness. At its base point, our humanness. What do we need as a human? Connection. We need people. We need food. We need water. We need shelter. We decided we need clothes because, I don't know, human nature. We just check people out. I don't know. So my biggest thing is everybody is human. And the hue does not matter. The color, all it is a different shade of tan, of dark, whatever you want to call it. The hue has no reason. So they bring into our sphere these topics, and they always are the same topics over and over again. We talk about abortion, we talk about gay rights, we talk about racism. over and over and over again. We talk about it over and over. You know why we do that? Because they don't want you to see all the other things they're doing that's overriding your liberties, overriding your ways of being, your security, your foods, what we're doing on the back end of things, what laws we're putting in. But we just have you focused on these few areas because it's keeping you all separate. It's keeping you all divided on your ways of thinking, right? I'm not going to go into any of those topics because there's no reason to. I don't believe so at all. So when you can set all of those things aside and go back to, oh, I'm a human. I have emotions. I can feel. I can create. I can love. I can hurt. I can change. I can adapt. I can think. I can rationally think. I can invent things based off of what I think. I can use my hands to create. I can understand worlds around me. I can build things like phones, mini computers. I can create so much. Humans have done so much. And the focus has been on a complete opposite spectrum from our own actual morals and values of what we need. We focused so much on the lavish end instead of like, okay, if we can create all these things, let's start here. Food that's actually going to nourish us instead of poison and kill, keep us controlled. Water that's safe to drink. How can we continuously have a safe, sustaining water supply? Well, there's rain. Okay, cool. What, can we collect rain? Isn't it illegal in some spaces, in some states, to collect rainwater? I believe it is. Why? Anyways, you go into those areas. Shelter. Okay. Oh, I can rent, and I'll be stuck renting a home. Buying land is really difficult. Buying a home, well, not really difficult, but in the economy, it's really difficult. They look at the exaggeration changes between what things cost then and what things cost now to how much we make now and how much we made then. It's blown way out of proportion. So, no wonder that we've had a shift of like, well, I have to have like 3 roommates, and people are moving into this polyamory. It's because, well, it's the only way, and you're moving into communities. You're pushing us into these because it's the only way that we're able to survive and like thrive. If we want to be ourselves, okay, then there's going to be like 10 people that are going to buy this beautiful place. They're all going to be doing their own thing. Maybe a couple of them have like regular jobs, but they all like live together and just create like some little mini commune. And that's great. They're actually connecting. But when you're moving into those base needs, when we're talking about things that we can create, going back to humanists, I'm just going to come back to where we're at. Like, we didn't focus on getting all those things met for everybody right off the bat. We kept the separation in countries, so we helped ourselves. We made deals to other countries and other humans of like, well, if you do that, I'm going to do this. And then I don't like the way you're doing that, so we're going to have to, not do this and only export this and charge you this and blah, blah, blah. It's like, we just wanted to try and be ahead. There was like this, like some sort of domination effect, Roman-esque, that's still playing about in the world today. Which I invite you to think about. If we consider ourselves a developed species, why do we continue to do this to ourselves? Makes absolutely no sense.
Because I don't know if people really have the basic understanding of energy exchange. Because, like, I feel like if people understood that, like I make this decision, but it's going to have...
Everyone knows if you make a decision, it's going to have a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
The choices you make lead to the outcomes. And the people that are doing this, they're all like 80 years of life ahead of them.
You said it have 80 years?
Have like 80 years of life on them.
Yeah,
like
for real.
Like 50 to 80 years.
But that's what I'm saying is like they don't see the exchange of like, okay, I'm gonna put people through hell or entire like just like I don't know, just populations of people through hell, but I'm gonna sacrifice certain things of myself and my soul. I'm not saying like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think they care.
But they
That's
do
the
at
hard
the
part.
very end. Like they're gonna see that we're still like I think there's probably some like moment before they die to be like.
You know what I think? I think that they're so delusioned that they're like trying to push ways to just live forever.
That's true too.
You know? I think they're just like, and that's why they're like, well, we'll make all these ways to live, like to help, you know, these crazy ways to live forever or to like keep the body moving or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like all these crazy things. And we can get into spiritualness, like the energies that be, on another episode, though.
Why you do this to me, Josh? Why you do this to me, bro? Alright.
As much as I want to go into that.
That's true.
That's another hour and a half.
Yeah.
Easily. So I really just want to focus on... I'm sorry to get back. Sorry to tease y'all like that. But we'll definitely get into that because you're right. The soul's exchange is a little different. But I believe that they know. And I believe it's on purpose. I'll say that much.
Humans or what, though? Because, you know what I'm saying? Because, like...
Yeah, we're getting out of humans now.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll save it. We'll save it.
Again, please take everything with a grain of salt. Believe what you want to believe. Look into your own things. Don't take what I'm saying, come with an open mind on everything, please. But as far as the potential for humanity, I want to say this because there is a chance at world peace, though many people strive for it, talk about it. There's like, well, there always has to be the good with the bad. True. But if we're talking about consciousness, and we're talking about frequency, right now you have, let's just put this in a space of numbers. Let's just say 3,000, we're going to call it hertz because that's actually what frequency is. It's called a hertz, and that's the frequency of a wave, how much a wave is going. So when you have a higher frequency, you have a more constant waveform. When you have a lower frequency, takes a while to get your peaks and your troughs. So let's say, for example, 3,000 hertz is the peak. It's not the peak, but we're just going to say it and use it for this example. 3,000 hertz is the peak. And let's say 150 hertz is your lowest that you go. Because there has to be some sort of frequency, so zero doesn't exist. So right now, we have the good and the bad. We'll call it, quote unquote, good and bad. Your higher frequency is good, light, airy, quick, changing, motivational. Your lower frequencies are slow, dull, need to feed off of other frequencies to get themselves higher, right? They always want to vibrate higher. So when two frequencies of the same come together, they expand and get stronger. I don't think that has anything to do with it, but I think they just want me to say that. So when you have your good, maybe you're vibrating at, 1,000 hertz. And then when you come down to your bad based on the pendulum, because everything has to swing back around, maybe now we're going from 1,000 to 500, 400. That's a really high. That's like being in Arizona summer and it's 110 and then immediately dropping to Arizona winter at 40. That amount of change is going to seem so drastic and in contrast seems so terrible to be in that 40 hertz or that 40 degrees or 500 hertz, whatever you're using for the sake of the example for you to understand. Right? But when you shift, and you shift more, and you shift higher, and you shift up to that 3,000 hertz, where it's just bright, peaceful, loving. Okay, then now maybe we're only going down to like, let's say half, 1,500 hertz. Well, wait a second. Wasn't 1,000 hertz our previous very good, like just beautiful piece? Yeah, but everybody shifted to a higher. So maybe back here when it was 1,000 hertz is your highest and 500 was your lowest, maybe that 500 is where you have all the genocide, the rape, the separatism, all the bad things, all the things that keep us away from each other. And the 1,000 was the communities working together and growing. And then you get to the 3,000 and it's like, oh, well, everyone is able to just be as they are, create as they are. Technology continues to advance people. There's no economic disparity. There's no wars. There's just growth and togetherness. There's connecting. You're allowed to just kind of wake up, allow yourself to do as you please, whether it be in a creative form, and you can go into a field that you actually love and research and study upon, and you actually get to take time and to do that instead of jumping into a space when you're 18 of like, okay, now you got to go to college and figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life that's going to support you and give you this money so that way you can make your way and buy your own food and pay your own rent and buy a house and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, no, we figured out a way to make that free for everybody so everybody can live a true human experience, right? And then maybe the low is like, oh no, you broke a leg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this community needs a little help. Let's go out and help them. Let's go take this maglev train across the world and go help you out. You're needing some aid? Okay, yeah, we'll go help. It's like mycelium. Oh, mycelium realizes it's low food over here. Okay, so it's going to grab all the nutrients, extra nutrients here, travel it along, and feed it over here. Well, we don't do that because we're so selfish in this my, build, beat, Romanesque, controlled society. And there's no way that anyone can see that 3,000 hertz is even a possibility. When it is, it very well is. You know why? Because I'm not the only one that's ever thought of it. I'm not the only one that's ever brought it into this consciousness space. I'm not the only one that's ever tried to fight for it. I'm not the only one that's gone out and, said, why are we doing this to ourselves? I'm not. But it's possible. And that's the reality of the actual potential that our humanness, our collective consciousness, our connection to each and every person, that if we focus and have this, hey, wait a second, kind of change and come together as a whole of what we can actually achieve and build. We talk about wanting to have a future for our kids. That's how you do it. We talk about wanting to make sure that they still are able to have food and water. That's how you do it. That's the why. You do it to get to that point, to come into the space of connecting, going back to our human base morals and values of the things that we need. And thinking and understanding that everyone is the same, although living different perspectives and perceptions of what reality actually is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Question. I know one sparked.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say, is there different ways of thinking about what we need, and that's why, how we got here in the first place, too? Because it's people fight over what those needs are.
Yeah.
And then it's but why, so, why can't we just agree on what the basic needs are? Because even psychologists have had them, different, right?
Well, yeah, but when you look at the way psychologists were actually looking at things, they were just doing, we based a lot of, our psychology on, old white men. and like just deemed what they thought to be true. We stopped thinking for ourselves, and we started just taking everyone's word as is and saying, well, this is what we're going to teach now.
Yeah.
Granted, there was some good things that came out of the experiments, but they didn't know much about consciousness back then. They didn't know much about the effect of frequency. They didn't know much about what Terrance Howard just discovered. Although they spoke about it, Walter Russell, which they brought up, spoke about it too and philosophized about it. The energy that's within all of us, the connection that we have within all of us, like that wasn't really a big topic back then. Even when I was in high school, it wasn't really talked about. It wasn't in our consciousness awareness strong enough yet. Now it's becoming stronger that like this is innately in us. You can talk to anyone. You can say, hey, do you feel like you have a soul? And then get into like this whole spirituality, religion topic. So, I can go into religion, but I won't. No, not right now. So, I think now it's just becoming more prominent, stronger in the way that the humans are thinking. I think it's just more on the mind now.
I always wondered too, is that's the case too because we're aware of that, like more people are also aware of that too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like weird.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird, right?
Yeah, because I remember when I was little and like my grandpa would tell me about like just being connected and being one, and just tell me that, and then like he would be like, not a lot of people know this, but then even like there was like scientists back then who were even like doing experiments that were on energy, like knew that there is this like, if I do this over here, the same thing can happen over there. I forget what experiment that was, but like,
you know what I'm saying? The monkey experiment.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, where they studied these monkeys in one area and they learned how to use like a rock for a tool or something. Mm-hmm. And then they studied a different species of primate in another part of the world, and at the same time they started to do it, just randomly.
Yeah. Like
no one taught that one monkey how to do it; they just started doing it.
That's
and they
crazy.
were like, "Oh, so yeah." It's a consciousness is it's also a living thing.
Yeah.
It breathes and lives. It doesn't physically breathe like you and I physically breathe. But it moves through us all, and it's always a rise and fall. That's why you always have beautiful days and dark days. You know, you gotta go through them. And again, going back to that space of you can elevate to where your dark days are not so dark as they used to be. You know, my dark days used to be, man, I just want to go out and either punch this tree or hang myself. Like, I just want to not be here. Those used to be my dark days. Screaming in the middle of the woods. Just blaring my heart out. Crying. Just wanting to end it all. Like, multiple times. Now my dark days are like, oh, I'm a little tired and lazy. I just need to catch up. My body just needs to catch up.
Yeah.
I just need to feel the sadness. That's my dark day now.
Yeah.
That's it. And then it passes within like a day or two. My good days are just days.
It's that frequency thing that you're like rising to higher frequencies.
Exactly. And that's available for everyone. I'm not unique in that sense. My beliefs, however, I will say this, and they want me to speak on this because it is a reason why. My beliefs in how quickly and almost to the point of delusion and what people might deem insane are so like ingrained in me that like I believe it to a core that I can shift fast and shift my molecules, my DNA, my whole body. I can shift it if I wanted to, depending on what I believe to be true about myself, depending on what I tell myself. And so your thoughts are very powerful. My words are very powerful. And so over time, like when you're talking about when your grandpa was like, well, I feel like I just like glitched right there. When your grandpa was like, oh, everyone's one, right? When you were younger, he would tell you that. When I was going through like church, and they were like, everyone's brothers and sisters. I remember hearing that one time, and I was like, oh, so we're all just the same. That was me at like 6 or 7 years old, being like, oh, okay, so we're all the same. We're all just brothers and sisters. That's cool. There's no difference. I got into that sense. And then when they were like talking about, because I'd pay attention, they were talking about Jesus being able to perform miracles, and then you can do, he's saying like, you can do as I can do, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so if he can do that, we're no different then. I can do everything that you've done. The potential.
Mm-hmm.
So that just kind of sparked me to think, well, then everyone can, by a derivative property. If we're all the same, and then he says that we can do it all that he can, okay, then I believe that. Then I also believe that we're all the same, so then I also believe that everyone can do everything that he can.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't believe that, and that's why I say your belief about yourself is important, and we have to start there. What do you believe to be true about yourself? That's a big thing, because that's what sculpts your reality. That's what creates your perception. If you believe yourself to be a tough communicator, if you believe that it's hard for you to express your feelings, if you believe that, it's going to take me a long time to improve at this job, if you believe that you're not creative, or that you are creative, and that you have something to share with the world, if you believe like you don't have anything to share with the world, then you're going to live your life based on that. So every single person that you meet is just operating on a belief system that they've inherently created. Now, most of the people, a majority, go off of a belief system that's been told to them. And so they never had the time to really think for themselves. Or if they tried to think for themselves, were just mashed back into, well, why would you believe that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Why would you believe that? And then they go, oh man, am I crazy for believing that? No. Yeah, actually, I might be crazy for that. I can't. You're right. I can't do that. Or I shouldn't think about that anymore. I don't believe that. That's not possible for me. Right? Then they just, because they talk about it with people that they trust and people that they love. But if you do that, and here's the thing, you can do that, but take everything with a grain of salt. Experience it first. Try and live it and see what you feel. Instead of going based off of what someone says is possible and not possible, because they're also living on their own internal beliefs that they've decided upon themselves. So, when you talk about the potential for us, how we can get there, well, as everyone knows, it starts with yourself. It starts with going through and understanding what I believe to be true about myself, and how can I make those changes to live the life that I desire to live. When you do that, then you're increasing your own frequency. What does that do? Okay, you're increasing your own frequency. If I can match you at, let's just say this, 3,000 hertz is derivative of 1,500 hertz. If you are rising at 3,000 hertz and you have someone that's at 1,500 hertz and you match them. If you meet them, they can arise to your level because you're a match vibrationally.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're just double me. Whoa, you're speaking to my cells. Whoa, I can get there. Cool, you're speaking my language. That's why there's certain healers that work for certain people and certain healers that don't work for certain people. Just, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be the right one for you to give you a reading. That's totally fine. There's someone out there that might be able to do it. There's someone out there that might be able to speak to you and provide you with that sort of cognitive elevation or soul elevation that you need that I may not be able to give you. Personally, I believe I can give it to you regardless because I can move up and down those frequencies and find where you're at and bring you up. But that's also a skill set that has to be developed. So, switch it inside. Okay, we're good. So it's definitely something that that's how we would get there if we were talking about that. Like, once you have the why has to be determined by, well, why do you personally want to live in a world that is full of peace? Discover that, what that means to you. Maybe it's, well, maybe, and a world of peace looks like this. There's no wars and no quarrels. There's free energy. No one has to be bogged down by some sort of economy. Okay? Money doesn't exist anymore. That's hard for people to wrap their minds around. Very hard. I remember talking about, well, why do we even have money anyways? And one of my exes was like, what are you talking about? We always need money. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
See ya. Just
all right. If that's what you want to believe.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I was like, okay, that's what you want to believe. But I was like, well, yeah, okay. So that's also hard to wrap your mind around. Free energy, no money, growing sustainable food. We're talking about soil. Soil's hard now, right? We've destroyed the soil because we just haven't been giving and understanding a way to work with the soil. I feel like we've been just dodging it down with chemicals because we're like, well, there's all these insects on our food and we were grossed out about that, so let's kill them all because they're eating our food. Well, no. We have a symbiotic relationship with them. So teach the people to grow their own food instead of trying to mass produce it for everyone. Instead of trying to have these lavish lawns, why don't you just, here, you grow, this neighborhood grows this food. This neighborhood grows this food, you know, or you grow what you want to grow and we just have a community collective and share. Here's what I got for this season. Boom, we're canning, we're getting food, we're storing up, we have food forever. But that's not discussed. I'm just going into like anything, but discerning why you want to live in a world like that, or figuring out what that looks like for you is important. Because if it looks the way like that, great. But I was listening to someone say, everyone's reality is different because of the perception that they have. Oh, I totally misquoted them, but that's the basis of what he was getting at. Which means your reality is completely different than my reality, right? So as humans, everyone has, even your family, like growing up, even if you're living in the same home, Dalton's got a completely different reality than the reality I have. You know, my family had a whole different reality than the one that I have, the one that I've created in my mind. They're all just a part of my perception and what I've created, right? And then I'm the same thing for them. I'm whatever that they've created about me, beliefs, you know, right? And so it's this crazy dichotomy. The only way is, even if I tell you that this is the intention, it's going to still look a little different than my intention. Even if I'm like, okay, you need to think about this, and this is our intention. Mm-hmm. It's going to look different than what, you know, even though I'm saying the same thing, it's going to look different because of your beliefs and the way that you think about reality. That's okay. But they're in alignment with the base things, which means that it's easier for it to come to fruition for both of us. Mm-hmm. And that's where, if we put that on the mass level, which when others have control of that, then they have control of what the mass reality looks like.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy? I was thinking when you were saying that, it's like when we were talking about, when I asked you earlier about like, oh, well, wouldn't people disagree on what like our needs are when we're all coming back together to like reestablish what's important to us and stuff? Like, I think it's good that you quoted that, because like, and that person said that, because like that in itself, us coming together with the fear of like, well, what if it's different? What if you have another idea and I have a different idea, and we clash in those things, and one has to dominate the other or take over the other? It's like, well, no, like each of us can create our own perceptions or ideas of what that means, because each of those can exist simultaneously. I think we just thought that they didn't, because when we're trying to connect with people and make sense of our reality, like, that's when it's like, okay, like I need it to either be the same as yours, so I'm gonna fall in line with what you think and like just go like, all right, yeah, like, you know, that makes sense, or I'm just gonna ignore this part of myself that's saying like I don't really fully align with that, but I align with a lot. Like, there can be different variations of it, and like that's where I feel like your individualism and creativity like has its purpose, and you can find like, oh, what am I here to do? Because I've been given this gift, or I've been given this like lens, or whatever, and I can create this, and like maybe this gives like a platform or an existence for someone else to exist in and also build up on their own. And it's kind of like that tree of life that you were talking about, or the seed of life, flower of life, yeah.
Yeah,
Everything.
they all fit in.
Yeah,
the seed then becomes the tree, then becomes the flower. Yeah,
but then I like
seed
that
also
quote
is
though.
part of the, I mean, flower comes from a seed, so does
Yeah.
a tree. So seed's
seed
technically
first. Yeah.
All right. I think we'll close out on that.
Yeah, I'm down.
Cool. Again, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. If there's anything that you want to hear us speak about, and maybe I should say this at the beginning of the next episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Please comment below. Comment through Instagram. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me an email. Comment on YouTube. Like, hey, can we talk about this? Like, can you expand on this topic further? Like, totally down to go into it and just kind of have another discussion and swim through it and see what comes.
Yeah.
Because like I said, a lot of this is through the Akashic Records as far as that, but also things that I've looked up or researched, looked into, and my own personal experience of what I've experienced throughout my life. So, again, I do appreciate you. I hope that this hears you well. And that you take something from it that allows you to connect with others around you on a deeper level. So, again, a lot of love to every single one of you and gratitude. And we'll catch you next time on Swimming with Sepsey.
Peace. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Swimming with Sepsey. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and follow us on our YouTube channel, or listen on all platforms or wherever you get your podcasts. Any support is greatly appreciated. You can find us on our Patreon page at patreon.com/swimmingwithsepsey. You can also follow us on Instagram at swimmingwithsepsey. And if something did arise today, maybe you need some clarification or want some help or just need some guidance and don't know where to go, feel free to reach out to me via email, swimmingwithsepsey@gmail.com, or you can find my website at soliliving.com, where I offer coaching packages, readings, and things of that nature. Again, thank you for tuning in. Very grateful. Namaste. And we'll find you on the next episode of Swimming with Sepsey.